Masechta bava basra, daf mem ches amud aleph, 8 lines from the top. So yesterday we learned, and we'll probably have time at the end of the shit to go through it fast. Okay, so yesterday we learned when even by tluya v'zavim, when somebody was forced to sell something, he hangs him up and he says, either you sell it or you know it's good for you. No, not for nothing. V'zavim, he paid money for it. We say the zvina is a zvina. At the end, we say it's mitzad svara. What's the svara? Because number one, he's saving his life, and he's saving his life. The guy's he's hanging him. Hang the move.
Why they hang him up for?
Because he wants to own the field. So number one, he says either you sell me the field, or I'll leave you hanging over there. You have to margin it.
I still don't understand.
Reuben took Shimon and he's hanging him. He says, "If you don't, I'll kill you. If you don't sell me the field, not only that, I'll pay you also." He says. So when it comes to these two, if you have these combination of these 2 pointers, then the sale is a sale because we say it's a svara, saving himself, and he's not losing a penny. He's sold him the guns and ice.
So it means to say
he's forcing him to sell it. We're talking about he gives him the true value. So you might say Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda has the kasha from the following mission in the Masechta Gittin. It says, "Get hamausa." Get hamausa is a get that Bezdin forces the man to give the get. So they force the husband till he says reitzani, versteht sich? Because kaif noisei achima reitzani, and it was a Bezdin shel Yisrael. A Bezdin shel Yisrael forced it. So the din is kasha. The get is a kasha, even though he was forced to give the get. Even though it's supposed to say, oh, he was a mukeshchin and she couldn't live with him, he has full of boils, whatever they would allow for her to demand the get. Bezdin would force it till he say reitzani, and even though Bezdin forced him until he said reitzani, then the get is kosher.
Like one of the store over here, they used to.
Yeah, with Epstein, a couple of guys went to jail for that because they forced the gittin to give the gittin. What's if it was goyim? Memches, and now we're up to 10 lines in the top. Uba'akum. Uba'akum means if the kviya that they forced the husband to give the get was done through goyish courts, goyim, yeah. So the halacha is puzzle that it's not a good get. It's not a good get, and we'll soon see why. But what's if the Bezdin Yisrael hired goyim? No. A man married to a Jewish man married to a Jewish woman, and the goyish court. She went to the goyish court. And they forced it. Then it's a puzzle again. What's if it was by the Yichab that? No, they forced the guy forced it.
But it has to give her a get and start get.
So they forced it to get. Yeah, he didn't tell you, of course. But if it was a guy, and meaning what does that mean? It means Bezdin hired goyim as their shluchim. That the goyim should be chayv to neisei, someone to unbrechen the beina, v'heimelei, to break his bones and say to him, Asay ma she'yisol leim lecha. Do what the Bezdin shel Yisol is mitzvah on you, what they're commanding on you. So then, in such a case, is a kosher get. But it says, but if the goyish court did it, forced them on their own, it had nothing to do with the Bezdin shel Yisrael. The first and third case is kosher, but the middle case mixed in. But here Bezdin shel Yisrael is mixed in. But if it's a goy in court that forced it, it's possible. There too, by even though it's not a mitzvah, neima agav unsei gomo magarish. Say because the goyish court forced him and he agreed. That's it. So say, you said as long as you have these 2 components, like by Mechira, that you're saving your life and you're not losing anything. Here, his life is being saved because the Goyish courts will take care of a business over there. Yeah. And he's not going to stay married to her anyway. They hate each other. So what does he get? He has no loss out of it. So finished. So it should be a good get. Ha'it ma'allah, Amar Avin Shasha, so the Gemara slugs up this kasha. Ha'it ma'allah, benegeya to this Mishnah, Amar Avin Shasha, v'atayim v'atayim, afilu b'yayiv t'kicham kasha. Even if a Geisha court forced this get, and forced him to say that he's agreeable, it's still going to be, minatayim should be a get. Matam, Omru, b'yayiv t'kicham pasal. Why do they say b'yayiv t'kicham is going to be pasal? Kidei shaloi tehei kolach z'achas. What? That's only if you come in Medina Sayyam. I maybe get. That's only if you bring a get in Medina Sayyam. We're talking about the same city. Umatam Amru b'Eved Kechavim Pasal. Why do they say by Eved Kechavim if they force them that it's going to be Pasal? Kedlei Shaloi Tei Kol Achas Ve'Achas Haylachs V'Seila Halatz Meyad Eved Kechavim. We shouldn't have that any woman that doesn't like her husband, she can't just make the husband divorce her just like that. There has to be reasoning for when we can force it. But if we're going to allow Geisha courts to intervene, all she'll do is run to court. She wants a divorce, and boom, even though it's nishtapid in Torah, and she'll have it done. Umafkas atzma miyad baila, and she'll get out of the marriage. So that's why they didn't allow it. Even though minat Torah would help, but they didn't want this kind of problems.
Too cheap.
Not just the times that it should be gehalten because there are times alpidin. Okay, but that's even if the nachrim kafur shalei kedin legarish, I get kosher with ha'isa upasak with ha'abanan. That's what he brings down. It's only possible with ha'abanan. What? No, it's not going to be a get. It's midaraisa is a get.
What is Rabban?
Okay.
What's the Rabban? Yes.
Sagt die Gemara, Basra, Rabbi Amnun asked a shayla on the words of Rabbi Huna from the following Mishnah. Lokach misikrikoin. If a person bought a karka from the sikrikoin, these are the Roman officers that would threaten to kill. In the time of the Chum Bayis Sheni, the Romans, when they went to Muhammad, so there were three types of exodus. This is on the previous blot. At the first type, at the first Gzeda was, while they were started to fight, they said whoever encounters a Jew must kill him. Who encounters, sees a Jew, you must kill him. Then the Gzeda got a little lighter, and they said, if you encounter a Jew, if you kill him, either you have to pay 4 zuzim, or the other guess is they'll pay you 4 zuzim for killing him. And after the Muhammad, they said, no. You kill a Jew, you get killed. You're not allowed to kill a Jew. But still, there was Sikhikrain. And here we're talking about these type of Goyim, that even they still kill the Jews, threaten the Jews to kill them. So these Roman officers, the Romans, Lokach Misikrikain, he bought a person bought karka from the Goy who forced it out of another Yid. He threatened another Yid. And this Yid who bought it from the Sikhikrain went to the original owner, and he says, I want to buy it for you. So we say, because it was taken away already by the Goyim. But really,
he wants to pay double now.
No, who paid double? He wants a star. We'll soon see what it is.
So he went to
he bought it off the Goy.
But he went to
Now he went to the original owner. He wants that the original owner should give him a star. That it's his.
He's giving to him.
That he's giving to him. So he wanted to make that the king should be merotze. It should be a king merotze. So we say Mekli Batal. The Mekli is Batal. Even though he showed that he's willing to make, that he should make a kinyan, he allows him to make a kinyan in it. It's not going to be a good Mekach. Mitzad the Baal, the original. He was not Miyayish, because we're talking about after the third Gzeda, he knew he could bring it to court at one day. Here, at the time when he threatened him, he was afraid. But if he will be away or he'll get a chance, he'll go to the courts, he'll win.
He says Belokach. What do you mean Belokach? He paid for it?
No, then he wanted to take it from the Balabas Miratzin, it says. That means he bought
it from the guy. No?
The person, the Yid, bought it from the Roman officer. And then he went back to the original owner who the Sikikrin took it away from. and he wanted it should be a kinyan meratzin. He
You
says
want you to buy it and you pay him again?
it doesn't say pay him. No. Say, why is the mekach bottle? If he agreed, he told me you can make a kinyan, it's yours. What's wrong with that? So we originally thought he paid. He paid a second time, like you're saying. Says Gemara, no, he didn't pay a second time. We learned already previously that on the previous block, this whole Gemara, and we learned the pshat is Amar Rav. Rav learned that Mishnah where it says Meklei Batel. He didn't pay for it. Lo Yishanu. We didn't learn only in the case the Amar Leilei Chazek Kni. He only told him, go, you can go make a kinyan and it's yours. That's all he told. The original owner. The original owner. But he didn't get paid, he didn't give him a star, nothing. So he says that it's not a kinyan. It's Tam Gizak Vert B'Alman. But if he gave him also a star, showing him that it's a kinyan, according to Rav, if he goes out and he's ready to write up a star, then it's a kinyan. V'lu Shmuel. So the Gemara continues to ask, but according to Shmuel, the Amma Apishtar Nami Loi Kana. So what are you going to say? Why is the Mekach? So what could you say? If he gave a star as a raya to the Lekeach, is not a proof that he was maknit b'lev shalem, right? So
Why is it no good?
So the meicha was not misatz b'lev shalom. So let the mechira be bottled even when there's a star. What are you going to answer? When is it shy that it should be kaina? He says, but Shmuel in a place, if the Lekech, besides the star, also gave money,
That is different.
that he gave him the money, so then the Mekach is Kayim.
Because like he bought from him. No?
So,
It's like he bought it from him.
So here you see you need both conditions, the money
And the
and,
star.
of course, the star, but the money and he forced him, he has to say Reitzani. We're learning that it's Nisratzis, because he was forced, and also that he got paid for it. So the Messiah, but this is we also have on the previous daf. According to Habibi, he explained the memory of Rav Nachman b'Shem Rav Huna that a gazlan, even if he brings a shtar mechira, right? We're still going to take out the field from his hands, even if he brings a shtar mechira. According to Habibi,
From the first bought, from the
he
first-
said Mishmei de Rav Nachman. Let's say the guy, the guy forced him to sell the karka, and then the original, and then the guy who bought it from the Sikikra came to the original owner, and the original owner, he gave the original owner money. So we pass
And the
in,
star also?
even with a start. Nevertheless, Habibi said in the name of Rav Nachman that he has to return the field, and the money only if he doesn't. He has to return the money to the yid who paid him for it, because the yid has to give back the karka.
So the original owner has to give him back the money.
The original owner gives back the money, but he gets back his karka.
Yeah.
That means even if he paid for it,
What would he pay for it?
even and he accepted the money, it's not going to be a kinyan. The zakasha, we said once you pay for it, it's supposed to be a kinyan. Karka, it says karka in loy, but he has to return back the money. It's mashma that the guy paid for it, and still the karka he has to return, and he gets back his money. Yeah, so it's mashma that it was bought with money. And so you see, even if he bought with money, it's not going to be a kinyan mayik l'meima. What are you going to be able to say? From the words of Rav Nachman, even if the mechira was forced, and the lekech also gave money, we said those are the two conditions that we say the sale is a sale, and here you say, Rabbi, the name of Rav Nachman is not a sale. And the Rabbi Memrehu. The words of Rabbi is not a Mishnah or a Baraisa. Rather, that's just a shmor that he heard in the name of Rav Nachman. But Rav Huna doesn't hold of the shmor that Rav Nachman said it's not going to be a kinyan.
Civil court. Sometimes a judge says certain statement, but he didn't say it as a psak.
Right.
So therefore, it doesn't have a.
The votarized.
So, or he says, I don't hold like his memory. It doesn't mean I say he says Rav Huna says that the shita of Habibi is wrong. Rav Nachman me'olam lo yamakeh. And Rav Nachman never said these words according to Rav Huna. Amar Rava, Rav hat gesagt,
Even if he said it on his own, he says here, Lashon, that's one gabra against another gabra.
if he said it on its own, yes, nishkin stira. But he's saying it's a member.
Thinking out loud.
Right. But I'm just saying that it was a statement said, and Rav Huna says I disagree with the statement. Rav Nachman never said that statement. Amar Rava, Rav had said Hilchusa.
Was a bigger tzaddik?
Oh, Rav Huna and Rav Nachman were friends. They were at the same time. Amar Rava said Hilchusa Talyu v'Zavin Zvinei Zvini. The halach is if the person he hung him up to force him to sell, then we said the sale is a sale. And we did not say it only by a soda stam, like we'll talk about from the, when we get to the previous part. Soda stam means he told him, I want you to sell me one of the fields. You're going to have to sell me. So now the owner has a choice to pick between fields. So he picks the worst field. So the moment he picks the worst field, he shows he's willing to sell it. So then it's a good mechira. So he told him so this time he let him have the choice, and he chose, and the seller chose a field. So then we say it's a good mechira because that shows nisratza that he wanted to sell. But if he tells him this specific field, ich will the best field, and he points to the exact field and he says you're going to have to sell me this, loy. Then we don't say the mechaz hamecha faket. It's bottle. Because he was forced and he doesn't really want to sell it. Like you said, the best thing, he doesn't really want to sell it. No, but we're saying he's threatening him, but so he gives it, but we know he didn't give it b'lav shalom, so later on he can retract and say, I never really sold it. Nami, and this field, when he says Sadazu, we said it's not a mecha, loya maron el the loy artzi zuzi. The only time when we say, if he said Sadazu is not going to be a mecha, when the guy gave him the money and he didn't even look on how much money it was. He took the money, he just put it in his pocket. Like he doesn't really want the sale. So he says, Aval Artzi, Zuzi, but if he starts licking the cash and he starts counting the cash, and he shows he likes the cash. So light, then it's a mechira. It's not. Then the mechira will be chal. Yeah, because he's counting the cash. He's happy. And this was not said. That there was no way of him pushing it off for a week later to figure out ways how to get out of it. But if he was able to tell him, come on, right now I can't do it, I have emergency appointments, he was able to push it off, and he doesn't do it, then the mechira is a mechira because he was able to get out of it and he didn't do it. So therefore the mechira will be a mechira. What's the halacha taka? The halacha is in all these cases that we mentioned, the hava zvine, the sales are sale, even if he had all these conditions. Even by if he says this field, and with all the conditions, it's still the halacha is the sale will be sale. Even though he didn't like it so much. Where do we see this? So he says to Aisha that by a woman that she was forced to get engaged. It's like this field. It's not two women. And he says to two women, choose between each other which one. I'm forcing one of you to become mukadeshus to me, and one of them agrees. That's already nisratza. Here it's sodazu. He says, only you're going to have to get engaged to me. That's already sodazu. So he says, if he hunger, he says, you better get mukadeshus, or you know what's good for you. So kiddushin. The kiddushin is a kiddushin. So because it's kaif nisratza, so she doesn't want to get killed. So that's nisratza. Plus she's getting money because the chayiv.
I'll shoot you if you don't get married.
Yeah, the man. And she's getting mezainas. The husband's mechuyev mezainas. So it's like she's getting paid for it also. She's not losing. Okay, so it's mamish like a mechira. Yeah. Be'isha is different. You can't. It's not. Even though it looks like mechira because she's being forced, she's getting paid. But we said by Isha is van a ganz another Indian. A new gather over there by Isha. The kedushin is not going to be a kedushin. Because Shehu Asa Shloike Hugan, since the Mekadesh didn't go in the not right way, he forced her. Lafika Chasi Imayis, therefore the Chacham do to him Shloike Hugan as well. Mafkinu Rabbanim L'Kiddushay Menei, and the Rabbanim have the power to be Mafkinu the Kiddushin, because called the Mekadesh Adai to the Rabbanim Mekadesh. He accepted the Tanai that he has to follow the rules of the Chachamim.
He's like, he's never married to her.
And so it's like this money, they took it away from him, whatever the money, and they gave it to her as a maton. It's like he never gave the money.
Oh, but they didn't get married yet.
No, Kiddushin. No, so it's considered as marriage. You need a get. You need a get after Kiddushin. She won't need a get. Because the Chachamim am gesagt, as Kiddushin, we took your money, we made her hefker, and we gave it to her as a matana. You never gave the money to her. This is good if you're talking about the Kiddushin happened with money. Okay, how about Kaddish Babiyah? He lived with her. What are you going to do? Take it back? It's done. This is a big goof. What are you going to do? So no, I'm a lay. Ravash hat gesagt, zurück zu Ravina, Shavyu, Rabbanim leBeila, say, Beila's nose. That it's like it was Tama Beila with he went and he lived with some other woman and that's it. It's a Beila's nose. And it wasn't a Kedushin. The Chacham have the koyach to be mafkir, the Chalois Kedushin, even in such a case. To be oikim in Atera. And since this Beila is a Beila's nose, there's no Kedushin. Gemara tells a story. Tabi, he was a tough cookie. Tola le papi akina. He took papi and he gave the hanging. I want you to sell me this film. I don't know. Oh, so there's two girsais. Either Tabi hung Papi on a tree called Kina in order to force him to sell him his field, or Tabi hung Papi because he wanted him to sell the eights, the tree called Kina. That's the two girsais.
What kind of tree?
It's called Kina.
Kina is a tree, though.
The tree, yeah. And he sold it. He did whatever he asked. Yeah, listen, I'd rather live. Take your tree.
So Papi sold it.
Yeah, Papi sold it. Papa Louis. Okay. Chosam, Rabba Babachona went and signed, together with another aide, a Maidah. Ashta Maidah. What's Ashta Maidah? Ashta Maidah is that you make a notification that I'm being forced to sell. So I'm going to be selling, but you should know I'm not doing it willingly. I'm writing a star on the future sale. I don't want to sell. And I get two agents to sign. And then I write another star. This is a regular sale. So the first star is supposed to be Mavatal, the second star, that the sale is not a sale.
Even the second one not a sale.
That the second one is not a sale. So, Ashkalta. But Rabbi Chana not only signed on the Shtar Maidah that he's being forced to sell and he doesn't want to sell, but he also signed on the Shtar, the second one, the Shtar sale. Whoever signed on the Maidah, he signed well. And Uman the Chosma Ashkalta Shapa Chasim. And the one that signed on the Shtar Mechira is a good Shtar Mechira. So how could it be? If the Shtar Maidah is the right one, that means they were coerced, they were forced. Lo Yashkalta, then the Shtar Mechira is nicht kein Shtar Mechira. Vi Yashkalta. And if the Shtar Mechira is a good Shtar Mechira, Lo Maidah is nicht kein. So the Maidah is garnished. It's like two people came to a din Torah, and he asked the first guy finished. He says, "Du bist gerecht." Du bist nicht gerecht. Wie kann das sein? Yeah, I was like, how can it be? So that's what the Gemara is asking. How can it be? It's other Maidah than the Ashkalta. Which one is it? And the Gemara, Hasam Hachikama. This is the pshat. This is how you have to say. Ila Maidah. If there wouldn't have been Ashtar Maidah, man de Chasma Ashkalta Shaper Chasim. Whoever signed on this Shtar Mechira, even though the sale was a forced sale, we're going to let it go through. Even though we know for a fact it was a forced sale, we're going to let the sale go through. Rav Huna.
So what are you trying to say?
But if there was a Maidah, it would be Mavatali.
So there's no sale.
He says the sale is not a sale. But here, what did he mean to say? That the Chsima of the Ashkalt is a good, the Shtar Mechira is a good Shtar Mechira, if there was no Shtar Maidah. Even though the Shtar Mechira, there was only a Shtar Mechira, but even though we know it was forced, we saw what the guy is doing. He told me, I'm going to kill you. He's hanging him. And we say the Mishtar Mechira is a good Mechira. That's what he wants to tell you. Rav Huna l'tamei. Rav Huna goes according to the Shita. Domer Rav Huna said, Tal yu v'zamin, if he was forced to sell, zvine. The sale is a sale. Frankie, really? If he, are you going to say that when there's a shtar meidah, right, to be mevatel the mechira, it's mevatel the mechira? V'ha'amar Rav Nachman, ha'edim sha'amru amanu hayu dvareinu. What's a shtar amana? A shtar amana, the edim come and testify that this shtar, he wrote to borrow, not that he's borrowing. He needed to show people that he has a lot of money, so he shows that he has a shtar, that he's borrowing hundreds of thousands of dollars. But he didn't borrow it. He, just in case he'll need it. So he'll use the shtar. But it didn't happen. So the Yemana ain't no money. They're not believed to say that it's a shtar mana. Why? So the Rashbam gives two reasons. One reason is because once Adam signed an ashtar, it's already, it's as if they said that he actually borrowed the money. And Kivan Shehigit, once he says Adis, he cannot retract an Adis. So therefore, we don't believe them saying that it was only a shtar mana. Once they sign the shtar, that means it's real. The Rashban gives a second reason, because it says, Al tashkin bo'elach avla. Don't let anything, illegal documents in your tent, because he'll bring you to Avera. Because even though he didn't borrow the money, right? But the Leva didn't borrow the money, but the Mal was holding on to the shtar. We're afraid that the Malva who becomes tight, and he'll start collecting from the Leva, or start collecting from the Lekuchis from that day that he sold fields. It can bring him to an Avera. He's not allowed to. And therefore, it says that's the avla, and a person is not neman to testify on himself that it's a shtar amona, that he is holding on to such a star, because a person who testifies to such a thing, he's making himself look like a rasha, and ein other makes al atzmei rasha. A person cannot make himself as a rasha. Same thing, meidah hayidvareinu. He says that these words that we signed on the shtar, we wrote that the Meicha gave this shtar that we wrote the shtar Mecha. You should know that we had a notification that he's being forced to sell. Ain't a money. They're not going to be believed. Why? Because once they wrote in the shtar Mecha that it's a real shtar Mecha, so we say Kivan Shehigit Shuvei Nechayzer Magid. So how could? So here you see a shtar Meidah, that a Meidah cannot be Mevatel Shtar Mecha. Says Gemara, Hani Mili, when can't a Meidah be Mevatel Shtar Mecha? If it's Al Peh, if they only testifying with words to be Mevatel the Shtar, saying that with our words we know that he told us that they're being forced. He's being forced to sell. So the Leiyas Al Peh, Maral Shtar. Al Peh cannot come and weaken the Shtar. But if it was a shtar meidah, then we say us ishtada, that a shtar meidah can come umar l'shtada and weaken the other shtar, meaning the shtar mechira.